From TMP to TTNG, for sure the care and those tired meme jeans. Hella Kinsella and the promise ring. Sunny day, real estate and rights this spring. Prince Twinkle daddies help keep the dream alive. I constantly thank God for Algernon and Remo Christie Front Drive. Mineral, snowing, high tide hotelier and more. Rio Limo only consists of the DC emotive hardcore. But you gotta admit, Kyle and Ellie really on that emo bullshit. You gotta admit that Kyle and Ellie really on that emo bullshit. Have you heard the tired and disavowed lonely word? Have you heard the disavowed and lonely word? Have you heard the lonely disavowed word? Have you heard the tired and lonely disavowed word? That's the best when you get it.
No! Jesus Christ. House tricks. I searched it. According to the Google dictionary, it's informal, used as a friendly greeting. House tricks in your neck of the woods.
But Urban Dictionary is a fairly uncommon expression used as a greeting, similar to "how's it going?"
Okay, yeah, fairly uncommon, but it still is notable enough to be in like Google Dictionary.
Yeah.
Should I have said "how goes it"? That's normally what I say, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit.
There was this kid that lived across from me my freshman year who was from Hawaii, and his thing was "how's it?"
How's it?
Yeah. It
How's
just
it?
sounds like you like cutting off. Like,
How's it going? Yeah.
yeah.
At least it's not saw, dude.
That was a fun moment though. When like Saw Dude was like such a viral thing. I remember just like going to shows and people just shouting "Saw."
I got very good at it. Like, I got like a really good like saw, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's the shit. I said "how goes it" for like years because of SLC Punk, solely because of that movie.
Oh, okay. Well, Ellie, how did you say "what's up" in 2010?
How did I say "what's up" in 2010?
Yeah.
I said "what's up" in 2010 by filming myself singing along loudly to "Never Shout Never" lyrics while like crossing my hands in straight edge pride and then posting it to Tumblr. How did you say "what's up" in 2010?
Looking up from mounds of schoolwork, because I was in college at the time.
Oh, were you a freshman in college?
This would have been, I mean, half of the year was my freshman year of college, and then the other half was my sophomore year.
Oh, word. Okay. Yeah, this 2010 was the end of my 8th grade and the beginning of my freshman year of high school.
Is this too sloppy of an intro to actually make the episode?
Absolutely not. I'm so stoked on it.
It's like just as like cringe as like the Blink 155 intro where they like are talking and they're just like anticipating like how they're gonna segue like the song into the intro.
And sometimes they just give up and go like enthused. Yeah. I would say that I probably am the Josiah of this podcast. You know? Like
I thought it was like no brainer. Like, you are Josiah and I am definitely Sam.
Yeah, I mean, you are vastly more mature than me, for starters. Just in every facet of your life. You're also very articulate, and you kind of help guide things. Meanwhile, I actively research things that have no bearing on anything that we're going to be discussing this episode, and I very much enjoy making people as angry as possible. I view that as like part of my reason for living. So,
Yeah.
Sam and Josiah, if you ever decide to tune in, I hope this is the episode.
Well, to properly intro this episode, this would be a bonus episode.
Yes.
For our Patreon subscribers, but we thought it would be fair to kind of give you a full episode teaser of what this episode format is, and this is our 2010 discussion. This is like a part 2 of our decade under the influence for each year. So we're going to be talking about everything else that's going on in 2010 for emo.
Yeah, do you have the list of the other albums that were
I
released?
sure do.
Hell yeah. Okay. We're
Do you
rocking and
not?
rolling. I am the Josiah of this podcast.
I love how that could just be like a crutch for you for anything from now on. Ellie, why are we getting canceled?
I'm the Josiah. I said vinyls in front of James Cassar too much.
We won't necessarily just be going down this list of records that were on the ballot per se. This is where we can get a little personal about like, hey, where were you at in 2010? What were you listening to in 2010? Were you even aware of Algernon Cadwallader in 2011? Etc. etc. Of course, I'm assuming you have listened to that part 1 of 2010 where we talked to Snowing about their record I Could Do Whatever I Wanted If I Wanted, but we're not going to be talking about Snowing. We're going to be talking about all these other things like merchant ships.
Yeah. Anything that could possibly be said about Snowing was said in our Snowing episode. Like,
well,
I don't think we could further cover any territory.
Well, someone did like comment on like an Instagram post that's like, you didn't talk about the cat that's on the cover.
I mean, I think like the day that we released the podcast, someone had like asked Snowing's Facebook group or Facebook page what the name of the cat on the cover is, and they got an answer. So, so real quick, how are you, Kyle?
Oh, I'm all right. You know, it's Friday here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm gonna see Deaf Heaven tomorrow, and then the day after that, I'm gonna see Weezer, the Pixies, and Basement.
Sick. I actually think that might actually be like a very sick show, because one, at this point it would just be like cool to see like the Pixies' reaction to when Basement plays Covet, which is literally just Where Is My Mind.
That's right.
And 2, because it's like literally just like 3 generations of indie rock like that had directly influenced each other, a coalescence of it, if you will, because Pixies begat Weezer, begat Basement. Like, it seems like beautiful in a way.
Yeah. But at the same time, none of those bands are even remotely near the top of their game. They're like 20 years removed from the top of their game, and also like 3 records away from the top of their game.
I mean, I'd say Basement's maybe like a record and a half away from the top of their game, but
is that how far
still.
away we are from? No, we're like 2 out.
I mean,
Color Me and Kindness we're talking about, right?
Yeah, they broke up right after that.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they came back and released like an EP and then this album, right?
No, there's Promise Everything, and then they put out an album that no one I know listened to last year.
Okay. So 2010. This is my fault. I don't know why. To give context on if I'm like loopy at all during the recording of this episode. One, a couple days ago, I stabbed myself in the hand with a box cutter at work, which was wild. It was like the size of like a quarter-sized hole, just in the webbing between my index finger and my thumb, and it was like real gross. There was so much blood. It was sick. My coworker she was like mortified of blood, and the person I called to cover like the last hour and a half of my shift had to like clean it up for her because she couldn't like go into the back because my blood was on the back door. It was great. They like bleached the box cutter and everything. And I'm quitting smoking, or at least trying to. So I got a nifty little jewel here.
I have a jewel.
Yeah, it's everything I hate about the kids today, the Zoomers, if you will. Like, there's not a lot of shit I can talk about like kids today, because Honestly, they're a lot cooler than I was at their age. But every time I see someone smoking a Juul, I just want to like shake them and yell at them, smoke a real fucking cigarette like a grown up. But here we are. Also, I'm like working out an appropriate dose of Xanax to take for anxiety. I don't think I've like found the formula yet, so I am not like I'm not completely lucid right now. It's a work in progress.
All right.
We gotta start doing the episode here.
Okay. All right. So, 2010. I want to start here. So this is not the beginning of the emo revival by any means.
No. Where personally would you put the start of the revival?
Something that you put in my head is like, well, the Algernon demo came out in like what, 27 or 2007 or something like that.
2005. 05 is when that demo came out.
They were a band for 4 years before they put out full length.
Yep.
Fuck.
3 years.
So I mean, if we're going by like demo, okay, a demo doesn't equal a revival though.
Okay, fine, but I think Look Mexico actually put out like an LP in 2005.
But Look Mexico is like more just straight math rock in my opinion. I mean,
sure, I agree that
Look Mexico and fucking Maps Analysis, like, and I mean, Minus the Bear. Those are just math rock bands.
All right.
Right. I mean, do we need to patch Tom Mullen in or something? Is this band emo?
I mean, because I feel like from 03 to 06, you were getting bands happening that like, because the Midwest emo thing wasn't really dead. It just was on life support and like supported completely by releases on Deep Elm. You know?
Yeah. Well. All right, so emo revival though, like one band doesn't equal the emo revival. I mean, I think to say we're having like a scene revival, or I mean like a white belt revival because Steel Space Cowboy is popular, doesn't that mean that we need to have like a whole scene to have?
I mean, there is a whole scene. There's like the Callous Cowboys, Wrist Me Razor, Nesh.
Yeah, but
Binary, yeah.
So what scene equals that for emo, and when was it? Is it because we actually missed a bunch of crucial records with 2009.
Yeah, that's true.
So is 2009 the revival beginning?
I mean, you got Kraken out in the subreddit saying that it was the emo revival lasted from 2007 to 2011, and then it's dead.
Yeah.
And like a lot of stuff that's like proto revival, like L'Antiatem or Up Down Down Left Right BA Start, arguably falls into other categories like math rock or indie rock or screamo. So it's just real tough. It's real tough. I guess 2008, right? If you want to like make a definitive statement, 2008, because that's when like you got crucial releases coming from Algernon and Snowing in that year.
I'm trying to find this now, but do you remember this BuzzFeed article about like emo and like house shows that came out? I think it might have been 2011.
Yeah, actually. Holy shit. Okay.
Because like that was when I was like, okay, this shit is like isn't this.
It's not
this
just
shit.
For freaks like me anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it inside the secret emo shows of Brooklyn?
Yes, I remember specifically about Brooklyn too, because it's like a bunch of fucking cardigans and like thick rim glasses.
Yeah,
this is 2013 actually.
That makes more sense because I think 2013 is when the emo revival, quote unquote, broke. You know?
Yeah, that's when like everyone was writing about it. And people were basically just trying to have like a summit on their website like every other week. Like, oh, we got the key players of the emo revival on here. Glockamora are in this article? Fuck.
Yeah, some other bands, Living Room, Young Statues, fucking Make Do and Mend. Wow. This podcast's like third favorite punching bag band.
I was gonna say like we need to probably skip past that.
Timeshares. I always felt timeshares were like very explicitly orgcore though. And then the Fresh, the apparel brand The Fresh, uh, quote from the co-founder of The Fresh, Jason. We're trying to build a cult. We just did a photo shoot with this girl. Jesus.
Do you want to know what like horribly dates this article? Is someone
The fact that he's wearing a With the Punches shirt that
No.
has like a dinosaur on it.
that, but like there's a comment that's like broken, and it's where an RDO playlist was. Do you remember? Which was my favorite. Which was the first streaming service I ever paid for because I loved RDO. I thought that shit was what was supposed to work.
RDO was like the future. And now we know that you clearly should not be like placing bets on that shit.
Either way, so this was 4 years later, but we're just trying to find like a time frame for the emo revival. But yeah, 2013 is definitely the year that it like broke.
I mean, if I were to split a hair, I would say 2013 is the year it died and became like hashtag emo revival.
That's where it
you know?
became like profitable to some extent. Like
It's when there was like a much bigger surge of like indie rock influenced bands,
Mhm.
you know? But that's not what this is about.
no, I mean kind of.
Kind of. I feel like we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, but it's so hard to like keep the thoughts focused.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2010 specifically, what were you clued into emo in 2010?
So I was aware of it like coming back, but like I don't remember any of these albums on the ballot coming out. So to give some context, I was my college radio station's music director, so I was getting packages of CDs sent to me on the daily. I didn't start getting emo, and like that's predominantly what I was listening to because I was reviewing it for airplay, and that's how I was, and like I was paying, like this is a vivid thing that I remember I've been bringing up to people lately is like I remember an exciting thing was staying up till midnight to watch Pitchfork refresh and having the new reviews populate the website. So I was paying attention to Pitchfork and all that shit more than like an underground scene. I remember I was getting Count Your Lucky Stars records like about 2 years later, and like Tiny Engine stuff.
Right.
And that's when I started like actively seeing this emo thing more and more. But 2010, no, I was not listening to High Tide Hotel. I was not aware of any band called Everyone Everywhere. I was aware of like Tiger's Jaw, and I was aware of Tiny Engines.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people were aware of Tiger's Jaw, even if they were not aware of the rest of that stuff, just because they had like such a wide crossover appeal, you know?
Yeah.
Like arguably that the Pizza record is like a pop punk record first before it's an emo one. I think that in 2010 it's not so much that I was like super knowledgeable about the labels and whatnot, but I was very active on like Absolute Punk, like all those forums from back in the day, right? And especially Tumblr. Tumblr was like a huge like just like underground emo mecca once you like started going down the wormhole of followers and mutuals and shit. And I was like pop punk Tumblr famous at one point, but we'll get to that in 2013 in the 2013 episode.
What a teaser.
And I do remember because Tumblr has that like ability to reblog music, like you can embed like music and reblog that. And I do remember seeing Algernon reblogged in that sense, and Dads, like they may be canceled.
Yeah,
they may be canceled, but like people were all about Dads, in 2010 for sure.
In 2010 though.
Yeah, because when did Brush Your Teeth come out?
Is this not on Spotify?
No, this is like deep cut Dad's shit.
Brush Your Teeth came out in 2011.
Why am I remembering Dads being this big of a deal in like 2011? Oh, I'm just like conflating freshman year of high school here. Yeah. But yeah, I actually think that Brush Your Teeth and Brush Your Teeth Again are like both very good, unfortunately. Aside from any problematic shit, they were just like, this band's boring. That was where like the original fuck dad string came from, was people just being like, what a generic piece of shit band. And I don't know. I don't get it.
I'm not saying they were like ahead of their time, but like they weren't like ripping off. I mean, like,
No.
I mean, that's like the amazing thing about these records from 2010 is like every one of these bands has been ripped off since.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, Dads had something in 2010 called the Essential John Denver EP. Is that what you're thinking of?
I think that might be what I'm thinking of.
Okay, but either way, like, do you remember like seeing this shit hit Tumblr or hit, I don't know, blogs and shit, and like where, like, if you remember like the Snowing LP coming out, like where did you see it?
The first time I saw the Snowing LP, someone dropped a link in Mew in the 4chan music board.
See, I was never there.
I mean, I dabbled. I would not say that I was a big 4chan user in any way, but I dabbled, and I remember that. I do remember, however, first time I ever saw "Fuck Your Emotional Bullshit," it was on that blog. In case you missed it.
Yeah,
you remember
see,
that? Yeah,
that was a huge tastemaker for me, and that's definitely where I saw Tiger's Jaw for the first time, because they had a Pink Couch session. But yeah, in case you missed it, was like, I mean, we were talking about folk punk in a group chat the other day, and like that's where I found out about a lot of bands, like Paul Baraboo and all that stuff, was because of that.
I feel like In Case You Missed It was very like orgcore indebted, specifically because like, and this stuck with me to the point where I like mentioned it in another podcast episode, their comparison of Snowing to Hot Water Music. Like that's in that write-up, and it stuck with me somehow for forever, even though like now that I think about it, it's not really that accurate.
No, but it's also like, In Case You Missed It was just documenting like a lot of DIY in general, and at that time like it wasn't so segmented.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, also In Case You Missed It had like little links to like these like weekly Liz Prince comics.
I think so. Mitch Clem, he was like he was like the comic artist for that entire era and scene.
Yeah. I mean, it was like Mitch Clem, but also like Liz Prince and Jeffrey Brown. I remember.
I do not know who Jeffrey Brown is.
Oh, he was like he wrote that graphic novel "Every Girl Is the End of the World."
Not familiar.
He was very twee and cool in a way that like still holds up. Like I feel like it could have like aged badly and gotten cutesy and gross, but it still holds up as a relic of that era. And I like he's definitely one of those people, like if you were reblogging Algernon, or if you were reblogging Dads, or if you were reblogging Tiny Moving Parts, you were probably also reblogging like his panels.
Gotcha. Should we go over some of these records?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So on the ballot, and I'm not going to reveal numbers or anything or like what place they were in for votes and stuff, but I'll just say like which ones like had a chance, which ones didn't. Brave Little Abacus just got back from the discomfort. -- We're all right. This was at one point neck and neck. Didn't end up that way, but that's one of them.
This is one of them. Sorry, go ahead. I thought we were gonna like talk about go to the next one.
We'll circle back that way. Castavet, The Echo, and The Light. This one didn't get much at all. I mean, I think Castavet hasn't really like moved on from generation to generation in general.
No.
This is the problem child of this entire fucking thing, was Everyone Everywhere with their 2010 self-titled LP. The fiasco was that Everyone Everywhere tweeted about this poll and said, "Don't vote for us," and then instantly got 100 votes. And then we're back. Grown Ups, More Songs. I'm sad by how much this didn't get voted for because
It's super influential.
Just
It's insanely influential.
We'll get there. High Tide Hotel, Nothing Was Missing Except Me. Joie with The North End. This one got so many votes. I don't know. I don't know anyone IRL who even knows of this band at all.
Is it because? No, I'm thinking of My Heart to Joy. Right?
That was 29. Or that was 2009. They broke up in 2011.
All right. Which one of these bands is the one that's like X the World Is?
That's My Heart to Joy.
My Heart to Joy. Okay, never mind. I don't know. Joie de Vivre, like. Sorry, we'll talk about it later.
Merchant Ships for Cameron, a big one on the ballot, the only EP of all these, and I thought that it would have a chance. I mean, it didn't get like a chunk. It got a sizable chunk. Snowing, we all know, one. Tiger's Jaw, Two Worlds. I think I mentioned this in an episode already, but like people were voting for this one just because LOL Tiger's Jaw. Like, I don't know anyone who rides for this record at all. And then Tiny Moving Parts Moving to Antarctica got a lot of votes. And we had talked about that previously with Elliot.
Yeah. All right.
But at the top, Brave Little Abacus. This was the record that if I did vote, I don't remember if I voted or not, I would have voted for this one. I wanted to deep dive this record. I wanted to basically document this record because it's not fucking documented. This is a thing that you've been like talking to me about for like a year. Documenting this record was like your dream podcast. I mean, I wanted at one point when I was like working a job I didn't really fucking care about, I was like, I would love to just like take off like a month from work or something and just like write a 33 1/3 book about this record because like it's so interesting. Like for like 5 or 6 years, this record only existed on fucking YouTube and like Mediafire links.
You know,
But
I've never
best.
actually read a full 33 1/3 book.
Hey, I can mail you one. Do you want my In the Aeroplane Over the Sea?
This is gonna be one of my favorite episodes. This continuous process of us solo just going through the years is going to be my favorite because I cannot imagine how much shit we're going to give each other. It's going to be... Yeah, this, I think, is like 9 years ago, and the Brave Little Abacus still feels like they're exploding everything that's possible within the realm of emo music when I listen to this record. Like, it feels like extremely expansive and extremely ambitious in a way that I haven't heard anyone even remotely like come close to. And before anyone says any shit about foxing, all right?
Why foxing? Because
because you were talking about people were using the word ambitious to talk about their last album.
Yeah.
Compared to Just Got Back from the Discomfort, fucking that last foxing record is it's a fucking Hot Rod Circuit LP, okay? Like,
but no shame to Hot Rod Circuit or anything.
No shade to Hot Rod Circuit. I'm just saying they ain't the most complex band in the world.
No,
but Brave Little Abacus is like it's post emo. Like if anything was deserving of that nomenclature, it'd be Just Got Back from the Discomfort.
Yeah, and I mean, people come to the subreddit like once a month being like, hey, what's a band like Brave Little Abacus? And I always chime in like nouns because people are like, I feel like nouns is like on the verge of being forgotten about for some reason.
Yeah.
But like when I think of the Brave Little Abacus, I just think of like a band that like what like they didn't have a reference point. They were literally just throwing things together.
I have no idea what the influences for this record were.
So I Might Go to the Beach has an interview with Adam, and he was in a ska band before this band, and he exclusively listened to They Might Be Giants.
I think you've talked about this before, and that makes perfect sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense once you know, but without that, it's like, how does someone create this? And like I don't know. Like I think this album is definitely like the most boundary pushing. It's just boundless. Like there is no limit for that band. But in general, this is going to be one of my favorite albums of the entire decade. And it's just fascinating to me. Like they literally never re-uploaded it to Bandcamp as soon as it maxed out on its downloads that were able to be downloaded. Like they didn't do anything after that. And it was I think the story is like someone who wasn't in the band but was a friend of the band just kept posting it to like mu whatever the fucking fortune is. Yeah, they would just spam it to like all these pages. And then like I don't know what happened, but like reading the ratemymusic.com.
Yeah, the RYM roots.
Yeah, like the entries for this record are just like so many people like, this album saved my life, and just I don't know. It's just crazy to hear. It's just crazy that this album has gotten passed on so much, because like it shouldn't have. It had no reason to.
But also, I think the reason it is so like revered today is because of how much like of an experiential listen it is. You know, like everything. There's nothing on this record that does not have a purpose, and each song wraps into the next, and you could put it on loop, and it would still hold that same atmosphere. Yeah, you know. Also, Malcolm in the Middle samples. That's how you make a good record. I'm telling them right now. When I saw pictures of Vernon named a fucking song Krellboyne Picnic, I was like, oh, these are my boys.
Dude, I played with a band called the Krellboynes from like Upper Michigan.
That's great.
But yeah, it's a shame that this album didn't win. Obviously Snowing was going to win, but I would have loved to do a deep dive on this record. So next up would be Castavet, The Echo and the Light. This one I had to like search just to make sure we weren't missing a Castavet record, because I think that's like a crucial, or they're like a figure of the emo revival for sure.
Well, Summer Fences is. Yeah, because I was gonna say this is not the Castavet record. Exactly. Which goes back to what we were saying earlier about 2008 and 2009 being like fucking crucial years for the revival that we missed. Did they also do a split with Into It Over It this year?
Yeah, it's the one that's the Saves the Day ripoff.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I remember that. I feel like so Count Your Lucky Stars to me is like kind of like the underdog in terms of like those early emo labels, like because they're obviously very well respected, but they never ended up with like the extreme amount of clout that Top Shelf or Tiny Engines did. Well, I'm not.
I'd say it's kind of interesting that they didn't get the clout, because like there are big records. Like the Albatross is like started on Count Your Lucky Stars, and then they gave it to Triple Crown.
Yeah,
I just don't think they were. I don't want to speak for Keith, but I don't think that at like any point was Count Your Lucky Stars a full-time job.
Yeah,
and I think that's what separated that.
When I'm looking at like the people who were on like Count Your Lucky Stars in the past, it's like a who's who of extremely underrated emo bands is the thing.
Yeah.
Ape Up, Brave Bird, fucking Youth Pictures of Florence Henderson. That's a post-rock band.
Two Nights.
Calculator, for sure. That band is like criminally underrated.
Yeah.
And Swing Set with a P. I think they have Two Nights now. Like, I think they still have Two Nights.
Not bands that aren't underrated, but they have Dowsing. They had Free Throw, you know. So, like...
Yeah, for sure.
They had all the right bands. But Echo and the Light came out on Tiny Engines.
Like that's where I was leading to, where
Yeah.
it felt like that was like part of a jump. That was like a beginning of like an ascendance, you know,
Mhm.
because Tiny Engines ended up being, in my opinion, the label that blew this whole fucking thing wide open with Home Like No Place.
Yes. And Chuck, Chuck, who runs Tiny Engines, actually came from Deep Elm. He was like a Deep Elm
Hmm.
full time employee.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense because Deep Elm was the label that never gave up, so it makes sense. So let's talk about this Cassavette record because to me, I feel like it has some of the same like post rock aspirations as the Brave Little Abacus did, but instead of like swinging for the fences and just going for broke, they kind of tried to build a formula. And I don't think that worked for them as well as it did on Summer Fences because Summer Fences always built to like those, those extreme. All right, maybe extreme's not the right word, but like these like huge glistening
Dude,
spots of hope, you
dude,
know?
there's so many moments of just like euphoria on Summer Fences.
Yeah, like it's like peaking on a drug trip, you know?
Hmm.
Like it's that same feeling like where you get the tingles all over your body.
Yeah.
And I felt like on this record it's much less that and much more trying to recreate that.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like, I definitely I listened to Summer Fences first, and I didn't really come back to the Echo and the Light much at all. One thing that always kind of threw me off, or not threw me off, but something that always kind of like stuck out with Castavet is like the vocals are very orgcore, like
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
like dude sounds like the dude from Bear versus Shark.
Uh-huh, that low key bellowy like type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think that ever took me out of it. It was just like no one else really does that. Like mix like twinkles with like this, little bit of gravel in the throat kind of thing.
I think that outside of Summer Fences, that's probably why Castevet doesn't appeal much to me because in across the board, I generally prefer my music to have like a very like higher pitched emotive vocal style, you know? And I guess what I'm saying is, when Castevet did Summer on the what's this fucking record called
The
again?
Echo and the Light.
I was about to say the Summer and the Light. Shit. When Castevet did the Echo and the Light, I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
Didn't hit.
Um,
It felt like we were being held at a distance. That's what I'm saying.
sure.
The audience was held at a distance.
I never realized that they're from Chicago. They don't sound like they're from anywhere really, but Chicago is not the place I thought they would be from.
Where were you figuring?
I don't know. Maybe like a coast.
I don't know. I thought Chicago because a lot of like the emo bands from Chicago have like a similar type of like shimmery guitar style,
Sure.
like
Yeah, that's true.
dousing,
Yep.
also.
So that's Castavet. This is the last thing they put out. So, well, they did an EP in 2011, that one with like the bird and the record player, Ghost Boat. That's the hit from that one. But yeah, that was their final full length.
Damn.
So then we get to move on to our problem child, which is Everyone Everywhere, with Everyone Everywhere, 2010. I think a thing about about this lineup of records is a lot of these became hot many years later, and especially Everyone Everywhere. Like, I remember when I caught wind of this record like 5 years ago or something, I was feverishly looking for a press of it on Discogs, and it was just like a white whale.
Yeah.
And I was not aware of Everyone Everywhere for like a long time. 2010, what the fuck were they doing? Like, were they like a name at all?
I mean, yeah, they were like kind of like an intrinsic part of that Philly scene,
Yeah.
Like they were around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this might be a controversial thing to say, but I think the 2012 record is like vastly superior.
I think that's a common take, right?
Is it? I have no idea. I don't read anyone's opinions about anything. I just assume my opinions are always
I mean,
controversial.
I Feel Existed. I Feel Exhausted is like by far their biggest song.
I mean, but like, how much of that is due to like Spotify playlist algorithms?
I don't know.
Because that's the one that's always on the playlists.
For sure.
Even accepting I Feel Exhausted. But no, we're here to talk about Everyone Everywhere 2010. And I don't know, kind of similar to the Cast Event record, I felt like I was being held at a distance by the music. Like, they were trying to do a whole bunch of things, and I felt like I wasn't being let in, you know?
I mean, is it that have a take to say, like, this sounds more like Merge Records indie rock than, like, emo?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do not like Merge Records indie rock.
Okay. I mean, straight up, if this came into my hands at college radio, I'd be like, this is the shit. And then I'd be like, what? People are calling this emo? I think it's a great record. I certainly spent more time with 2012. And, I mean, I fucking like all the things that Matt's done. Hurry. Like, I love Hurry. I think Hurry is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was Tiny Engines. This is like a big Tiny Engines release. I don't know if this is, well, did they do the Pizza album first, or did Run for Cover do it? Or no, that was like a smaller label.
That was an even smaller label because
Yeah.
Run for Cover repressed it in 2010.
Oh shit, this is like the second thing that Tiny Engines put out.
Obviously that was a good move on their part, because even if I'm not the world's biggest fan of this record, I acknowledge that it has like a very, and this band in general has like a extremely fervent fan base.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think the Twitter account has gone dormant for more than like a month. You know?
Yeah. Whereas like no shade to Bravebird, but their Twitter account has like steadily lost followers as the tweets become like more abstract, and like, for real, I feel like the Bravebird Twitter is just like drill 2.0.
To the point where it's like, who the fuck is the person behind it? It's like become like, it's like, I mean, you also just look at it and you think, and you just see like the cat avatar, and it's just like, what the
Yeah. And it's the drummer who, like, if you ever watch interviews with Bravebird, the drummer is like clearly the only person involved who's having fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone
else comes off like kind of humorless.
I feel like you kind of spoiled it for me now that it's the drummer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. But more like ties to emo though, for Everyone Everywhere is the split that they did with Into It Over It in 2010, which just like, I don't know, I think it like really secures this band as like a very soft boy kind of band for some reason. Like, there's nothing like edgy about this group at all.
Yeah, it's like my first revival band, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is like,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's a good entry point. And by the way, this record, like, production wise, sounds fucking amazing.
yeah,
Like, especially for its time, like that like weird winding like backwards sounding thing at the beginning, like that's not a thing I would expect to hear on a record released in 2010 on Tiny Engines.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it sounds really clean and pristine.
Yeah. Do you know a lot of fans of this band?
Not personally, but I see them.
Yeah.
They're a visible contingent of internet wasteland known as DIY.
Pineapple's a huge fan of the band.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
So when I was first talking to Tom for the first time, I think he's like, oh, what kind of bands do you like? I was like, well, Cursive's my favorite band. He's like, I've never listened to Cursive. I was like, what? You are like a nut about like emo music, but, and then he's like, he's like, the furthest I go back is the 2008 Everyone Everywhere EP.
Tom is a fucking enigma.
I know.
Do you think there's like, do you think he like maps out like time signatures and like twinkles speeds and like has like a big calculation, and at the end, if it's not technical enough, he just decides to never listen to the band again?
I'm sure he has some like algorithm.
He has an equation.
Yeah, an equation. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
And we're totally leaving this in. We're just talking about Tom.
Yeah, we love Tom, obviously,
Yeah.
but he's just so funny, and I love his accent. It makes me feel warm.
So High Tide Hotel, nothing was missing except me. Personally,
Spoiler: this is the record that I wanted to win in the first place.
Interesting. See,
I'm very happy that Snowing won, but this was the record I wanted to win.
I made a decision in my head last month that this is a top 5 revival record for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Sweet. Tight. Okay, moving on.
I mean, I think it's like literally right underneath Parrot Flies.
Wow.
For me.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like they mastered the art of energetic, driving pop punk songs while still like, maintaining like the twinkliness.
Exactly.
And they have like these like great little twinkle breakdowns and just so much like desperation in the vocals. Like the vocals are so fucking good.
The gang vocals, those like huge. And and like you said, like those like breakdowns that like come in different shapes and styles.
The one in Sippin' on Monster, Think About Life, I feel like should be looked at as the twinkle breakdown that defined a generation. Like,
whether people know it or not. Like,
whether people know it or not, it's impossible to replicate. But I hear like like dribs and drags of it like everywhere.
Yeah, this record is so fucking underrated.
It's a masterpiece,
like
100%.
Not to call out a band, but like Marietta, in some form, whether they know it or not, are very much doing High Tide Hotel.
Just with a lot less energy.
Yeah, or different energy, maybe, is the more complimentary way to put it. But like,
I guess. I mean, I don't hate Marietta. I understand why people like it. It's just like not a. It doesn't like reach into my heart and like get my blood pumping the same way that High Tide Hotel does. Like this band like shakes me up.
Yeah, I like fell in love with this record like last summer. Like it had been a while since I've heard it, but like ever since then I've just been like, wow, no one really did this like as good as High Tide Hotel did.
Yeah, 100%.
It's insane. It's fucked up, but like the production on this album is so inconsistent.
It's wobbly for sure, even like in between tracks.
Yeah, and it's like to the point where it's like, who approved it?
I mean, if our Snowing interview is anything to go by, it's just they were listening on 2007 Apple headphones and couldn't tell the difference.
But like straight up, this was like, I feel like this was like a baby band, and they never like really did anything huge at all, right?
I mean, they did the next record, which a
is
lot of
Porch Lock.
Sorry. Yeah, I think a lot of people like that more than this, but I think it like it lacks the carefree whimsy of youth that High Tide Hotel had.
Yeah, man, I really know nothing about this band.
Let's reach out to fucking Nate and them. I'm sure they got stories.
Are they from Philly? Where's High? I don't even know
yes.
where the fuck they're from.
No, they're from Philly, and
okay.
like John even had that story about on one of those tracks. I think one of those tracks near the fucking end of the album that I'm forgetting right now. That is the dude from High Tide Hotel doing. Vocals.
Yeah. I feel like this has to be brought up at some point. That kid's YouTube channel with all of the amazing covers, Ricky Christian.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want to say like his cover of Porch Luck is my entry point to High Tide Hotel.
Oh my god.
I mean, that kid's YouTube channel is amazing. And it's
very good at what he does.
Ricky Christian. I mean, this is like a really obscure. I feel like I'm like Blink-155ing right now, but
yeah,
like
definitely.
But like I was totally staying up late, just like Googling, or just typing YouTube like Midwest Pen Pals, and I'd see his fucking cover pop pop up of Austin's house and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, I'm like 100% sure the first time I heard High Tide Hotel was because of his Porch Luck cover, which is awesome.
That's so sick.
That's right, and he was in that band Mallard.
Yes, Mallard, who are criminally fucking underrated.
Yeah, that band's kind of hard.
They're hard. They get a little fucking, you know?
Yeah. How funny would it be if like Ricky came on the podcast?
That would be fucking great. I'm like genuinely toying with the idea also of getting Eric from Heart Attack Man on.
Would he do it? That would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like a genuine possibility.
Okay.
Not gonna lie.
But like only talk about like the B9 board.
I don't know if he actually listens to emo. That might be a very amusing episode.
So anything more about Nothing Was Missing Except Me?
No, I think we should move on. I will let you know that the 2011 episode is going to be much longer because that has a lot of records that are very important to me.
All right, Joie, The North End. Like I said, this one got a weird amount of votes. I don't know. Like, is this even the record? Actually,
it's the record.
It is the record. You're right. I mean, I'm always kind of intimidated by this band because they have a lot of material,
and so little of it is like amazing. You know, like I by no means wish to say that Joie de Vivre is a bad band because if I want to say a band is bad, I will just say it. And this is not a bad band. They are just like, if they came up on like my Spotify daily mix, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna change it. I'm mad at it, but like, it's not something I would seek out on my own.
And so first of all, this is a band from Rockford, Illinois, which rocks because Rockford, Illinois is a horrible place with nothing to do. But like, I feel like just because I'm like 2 hours away from Rockford, I should be like way more into this band. And I know that people in the Midwest really love this band. And I don't know. I just like it's always felt a little bit overrated because I think I think their sound is just okay. Nothing about this band separates them from any other band that's doing this style.
100% agree. I remember like specifically the vocals. I just wish they were a little bit more. You know what I mean?
I do get what you mean, but like vocals have never been a make or break thing for me. I mean, like
that's like such a big thing for me.
Yeah, see, like it could elevate it, but like a Christian from the Hotel Year, like his vocals are extremely powerful, and like that band would be completely different if it was like the least bit less impassioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel shitty because I have like nothing to say about this record because.
I mean, I also have nothing to say about this record. Well, so I guess if you have nothing to say something nice.
I mean, like, so this one got a lot of votes. Like, do you see a lot of people talking about this band?
No, and I did not see people talking about this band back in the day. They were always mentioned as like the fourth band. Like if someone was like, give me like 5 bands to get into the style.
Right.
Like Joie de Vivre would be the one in the 4th place. You know, like that thought. Yeah.
And like it's weird because I'm more aware of Warren Franklin more than I am of like Joie.
Yeah.
Warren Franklin was. Oh
yeah.
Because he has a split with like Mikey Erg. He has a split with fucking kind of like spitting. Yeah, I don't know. I think this band sounds super like Midwestern and Midwest emo, and I don't know. I'm always a little bit prideful of that being from here. I actually saw one of their like only shows since they've like split up. It was with Tiny Moving Parts, Free Throw, and Prawn, and it was like a very, very good set.
All right, word. So Merchant Ships
for Cameron.
Disclaimer: we all know fuck Nick. All right.
Yeah.
When I first heard this, I distinctly remember feeling like, oh damn, I really miss Midwest Pen Pals. Does that Does that make sense to you? Like, I feel like this was like a much more, or sorry, a much less raw take on what Midwest Pen Pals was doing.
I mean,
Not that it has like great production or anything, but
it's okay. So the chronology here is Midwest Pen Pals, then Merchant Ships, and then what came after that? Was that
yes,
would that be
yes.
William Bonney?
Yeah, William Bonney and Park Jefferson.
Yeah. So
Park Jefferson.
I mean, is there would you say there's a huge jump in maturity between Midwest Pen Pals and Merchant Ships?
A huge jump in maturity, like of subject matter and whatnot? Not really. I mean, I don't think that Midwest Pen Pals would have had like that September 10th, 2001 monologue. You know?
Right.
That's just a little too serious core. But simultaneously, I don't think Merchant Ships could have written a song like Movies Like Juno. You know?
Yeah. I don't know.
So the maturity factor is like there.
Midwest Pen Pals is like a lot more just like straightforward, twinkly, and they're like trying to do more screamo, scramsy things here. Like for sure, right? Like that's like I feel like that's like the biggest difference to my ears is like Merchant Ships more of a more overtly trying to be a screamo band.
Yeah, and Midwest Pen Pals is like definitely twinkle scrams, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because they do have the scramsy vocals for sure, but the riffs on Midwest Pen Pals are just like all over the goddamn place.
Yeah.
And this one is like more focused.
So you were occupying like the internet corners where Merchant Ships were being talked about when they were around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that makes you very valuable for this conversation because I was years later too.
Okay. The conversation about Merchant Ships was always half, wow, this band's really great, and half, yo, when they played through, we got kind of fucked over by Nick.
That was like happening this entire time.
It's been happening since Midwest Pen Pals. Nick was just an extremely troubled soul from the get-go. And Jack Senf said as much too, like publicly.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, I have a couple friends from, you know, like that Michigan, Ohio area who, you know, one person like actually used to live with Nick, and they were like, the situation between Nick and their partners was always very, very uncomfortable and felt very like coercive and emotionally abusive. And then there's also the fact that Nick stole money from a record label, which was fucking everywhere. Yeah. Like people did not stop talking about that.
Yeah.
And then I think the meme the memeage for Cameron came a lot later. That started happening in like 2015.
Yeah.
And in a way, I feel like that kind of like resurrected this band's legacy because otherwise they were kind of like forgotten in a way that bands like Snowing were not.
So Merchant Ships was the band that tried to do the reunion show. I was in that Facebook group. I mean, in that event page, and I was in that. I mean, like I was planning on going.
Yeah.
That was insane. Like people were going to fly in from other countries to see this band. A band that put out.
I mean, they have For Cameron, and then they have Shipsography, which is like a demo and some other shit.
Yeah. They had 11 songs. I feel so removed from all of this because I've never been like a diehard Merchant Ships fan. Like, I mean, I can't imagine what Jack's DMs look like. It's probably just like so many kids are saying like, "You are the reason that I'm alive." Like,
oh yeah. According to Matt Pollock, rest in peace. Like, that was like one of the very first things Matt said to Jack when they met.
Really?
And Jack was very gracious about it. Very, very lovely person to his fans.
Yeah. It's not that I feel nothing when I hear Sleep Patterns. It's just like, I just think it's like, it's extremely cathartic. It's good, but like, I don't know, like, what am I missing? Because like, I do not live for Merchant Ships by any means.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to Midwest Pen Pals instead. Listen to William Bonney instead. Listen to NOLA and Sail North and especially fucking Boy Rex. I think Boy Rex is fantastic.
You like that a lot?
I like Boy Rex a lot.
I love Nola. I think Nola's like top 2 for me.
That's his apex. I think honestly one of his most underrated projects is We Are the Colossus. Back when they were like trying to do like legit screamo.
Yeah.
So if you ever had the opportunity to meet Jack and you want to irritate him, bring up We Are the Colossus. I think I have like the only 3 songs they ever did, and they were very hard to track down.
Wait, we skipped Grown Ups.
We did skip Grown Ups. Shit.
Because I was gonna say a contemporary to this. I mean, like they were both from Indiana, Doyle and Jack. So like Doyle's older bands were extremely influential to Jack. But let's hit reverse for a little bit and talk about Grown Ups. Honestly, this would have been my second vote. I think my third vote would have actually been Snowing, because Grown Ups, more songs, like a literal humanly perfect band.
Yeah, this band had such a like. Is it wrong to say like swag? Is that inappropriate to apply here?
No, but I want to hear more of it. Like,
I mean, okay, so I think this band was like untouchable in the sense of like they could groove like no other. I don't know whether that was like they were one of the first bands who were doing like the pot thing.
Sure.
So they
doing the pot.
Doing the pot thing, like, but I think that had a pretty large that had a pretty large role in just their sense of rhythm. I feel like this is like one of the more groovy, danceable bands of this era for whatever reason.
Yeah. Like,
and
I know a thing that people say now is this band goes like, but Grown Ups goes like all their songs just like start immediately. They don't stop. Like they have 2 guitarists, and I feel like they're both just so in sync, and they don't stop. They're just constantly doing runs up and down the neck.
Yeah, and it feels like not. I think we were talking about this with Elliot, because it feels like not messy, right?
Oh,
but
we were talking about this with Tyler.
With Tyler, okay, not messy, but like chaotic. You know, like controlled chaos.
Yeah, I don't know what the drummer went on to do, but like, holy fuck, he's so goddamn next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And get this out of the way. 3 Day Weekend. That's the hit right there.
That's the hit. That's like that song, like lyrically and everything. Just that could have come out in 2019 for all we know.
Exactly. There's so many. Like, I can't imagine that I Kill Giants did not listen to 3 Day Weekend a lot.
Right.
You know.
But also just like the lyrics, I've been collecting resin with your bobby pins that you left under my bed. Like, that's a fucking Mom Jeans lyric.
100%.
The thing that I want to know is what were Grown Ups listening to?
What were some of like Doyle's earlier bands?
Heavy, and it's weird because after Grown Ups, he does Cloakroom, which is like
shoegazy,
hard right turn. And I think Run for Cover has like a record shopping video with Doyle, and he's just picking up crust records.
So I'm gonna assume that honestly, Grown Ups were listening to Scrams, because that's what I will assume until told otherwise.
That's like your wishful thinking for everything.
I mean, it turned out to be hella true in the case of Snowing.
Right.
Not with John, but with everyone else. So I mean, I feel like probably like a combination of like Scrams and then like, you know, the like early mid 2000s like indie rock. You know, I feel like that's where most of the early revival was coming from, was like a symbiosis of those two sounds.
So I found one of his bands. It's called Lion of the North. They have a split.
Yeah, Lion of the North are a screamo band.
Yeah, they're on a split with Native.
Just like a more accessible version of that, definitely.
Oh yeah. I've listened to this thing, the Compass Calls. I have that listened to on Bandcamp or something. So we talked about snowing. So we just got 2 records left.
Only 2 records left. And these are 2 records, one of which is of little note to me, and the other of which could start a firestorm if we handle it the wrong way. So,
right. Okay. So Tiger's Jaw, Two Worlds. I want to say I have not listened to this full album in probably like 6 or 7 years.
I don't think I even bothered listening to it, like even like with the knowledge that we could be talking about it on a podcast.
Like I think the only song that I can like see the title and hear a little bit is "I Saw the Wolf."
No, not conjuring up anything for me.
Okay.
I saw them in
Sorry, guys.
I saw them in like 2014, and they played literally nothing off this album.
The only time I saw them was opening for Touche.
Yeah, that was that tour.
That was 5 years ago? Are you fucking with me?
Yeah, Touche and Dads.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 5
Was
fucking
that
years
tour?
ago.
They played 0 songs from this record.
I didn't even quote unquote enjoy the Pizza album until like 3 years ago. I thought it was just over. Like I fucking hated Adam's vocals.
Yeah, they grow on you. In everything that he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Two Worlds, like I don't know. I want someone to write in and tell us like to tell us about this record because
Yeah, take us to task on this.
Like it really does. It really confounds me as to why someone would want to hear like an entire podcast about it. but something else that they did in 2010 was that Balance and Composure split, which has which is a really fucking good split. Some of the best Balance songs are on that.
100%, and that's the one with like the blade of grass on the cover, right?
Yes, it
It's so sick.
Kaleidoscope and Rope from Balance.
Hang on, I'm gonna fire up Spotify real quick because I think Tiger's Jaw also did. I hope this is the year. It might have been later, but
This was the Spirit Desire year as well. The 7 and
Spirit Desire is their best song.
Don't even know it from the top of my head.
Never mind, because I was trying to find their split with fucking Code Orange Kids and Self Defense Family and the World
That's
Is
2013.
2013. Okay,
So
I was way off.
so like this is something we could apply to every one of these albums, but like were people calling this band emo at the time? Because Pizza album is pop punk. We all know that. Like it's been like an established thing.
I mean, people were calling it emo and pop punk. Yeah, for sure, because like emo was already a catch-all again.
Yeah,
you know. But the thing I think is crazy and that we talked about a little bit in the Ian Cohen episode was how much all of these bands were running in like all the circles. They were all running in the pop punk circles and they were all running in the hardcore circles. And you know what album I'm very surprised that we didn't put on here is the Upsides by the Wonder Years.
Was that 2010?
That's 2010. No Sleep.
We sure about this? It already got a 10th year anniversary. I thought. And it came out in 2010.
I'm gonna because maybe it got.
No,
it was January 2010. No Sleep.
I think
No Sleep
think
and Run for Cover.
Run for Cover got a part of that.
Yep.
I think we just decided to stay away from that because it already caused a war when Sister Cities came out.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk about the Upsides because that record is extremely important to me. But yeah, it's whatever.
So this brings us to a close with Tiny Moving Parts and moving to Antarctica. The thing about this one is, you know, there's allegations out there right now and being addressed to Dylan. Tiny Moving Parts are on the road right now, however.
This album means almost nothing to me.
I can't say that I was like aware of it until like way long ago. Like this album doesn't even have an entry on Discogs.
This is an old school fucking album.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a demo. Like it hardly exists, you know.
And I feel like, you know, back in the day, this was like one of those This is like one of those records you would say you fucked with hard to like get clout, you
Oh,
know?
100%. I mean, Elliot came
Like
on
I
podcast and said that it was their favorite. I believe that.
yeah. Yeah.
Not in a clout kind of way, but like this album is rough.
It's produced terribly. The bear theme in the fucking
I remember my first bear.
I remember my first bear and whether too unbearable for this bear to bear. Like disgusting. That's down there. That is down there with some of the stupidest song titles in all of this emo bullshit. I think that the cover for it on Bandcamp is literally like the blue disc, like it's like inside of a demo case, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the vibe. Like you can feel this band starting to figure themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did like a split and a 7-inch, and then they moved on to This Couch is Long and Full of Friendship, which, you know, I don't know if I've said this, but I think this is like one of the most embarrassing albums ever recorded. But their sound had been figured out, and then they went on to do a split with another canceled band, and then their only good album, which is Celebrate.
Which nobody took you to task on that.
No one did. Which I think that's great. I am so happy that people were just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think this is definitely like, I know I just said like this album like barely exists, but like it still counts. Like
It clearly means a lot to people.
yeah,
You know,
but
like didn't homie from Closure said that they were trying to get a tattoo of it at one point.
to this
right?
album.
Yeah,
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah.
But like I don't know, like the Bandcamp entry, like the description for the album is old shit.
Yep.
Like they re-recorded for the sake of brevity, for one of those two songs that they put out at the top of the year, and like it's cool because like that song deserves like it's shot at good recording and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like this is a family band. Like I think two of them are brothers and one of them is a cousin and shit, and Dylan learned guitar literally because of the fall of Troy and like all of that. You kind of hear it,
Yeah.
and I think that's cool.
Yeah. I think this was definitely like one of those things that I saw being passed around on Tumblr a lot, though.
Okay,
This was Cool Kid Cash, for sure.
really?
Yes.
Okay, because like they're from Benson, Minnesota, which is a small rural ass place. So it's like the internet is basically the only place where this band could blow up at that point.
Exactly, because it's not like they were like really playing that many shows, but I mean the notes were small, but it's like they say about the Velvet Underground. All right, 32 people reblogged the record, but everyone who did started a band. You know?
They said that about the Velvet Underground.
No, the Velvet Underground is only 10,000 people bought that Velvet Underground record, but every single one of them started a band.
That's fucking. I've never heard that before. But that's sweet.
That's a Brian Eno quote.
Oh. Well, that's 2010. Are there any outliers? Is there anything that?
I mean, like I said, the Wonder Years, but you know, maybe I'll get my shot at discussing the Wonder Years in 2011, because that's more of an outlier that I would like to see discussed.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think that Suburbia actually had like some valid emo influence in there.
so some of the write-ins, I'll just run through some of these quick. We had My Heart to Joy, Reasons to Be, which is an EP. Really good EP. I've been listening to that band a lot recently. Transit, Keep This to Yourself.
Ooh, shit!
But that's straight up pop punk. Straight up.
It's straight up pop punk, but like that mildly melodic hardcore and emo influenced pop punk.
Yeah.
I like that record a lot. I prefer Stay Home, obviously, but like that record's fucking keeper.
It is good. Yeah. Transit did get like bad though. I'll say that.
I don't even fuck with Listen and Forgive. I know people really like that record. I don't even fuck with it.
Perch Patchwork by Maps Analysis. I mean, we kind of talked that for a second. Crash of Rhinos. Distal?
I think that's just math rock. I think that's math rock.
Okay. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Honestly, a glaring oversight.
This is one that Alex from Heavy Snacking wrote in and was like, I can't believe you didn't put this on there. Joyce Manor Summer Vacation Split. I mean,
because that's a pop punk split. That's like even more inarguably pop punk than fucking.
They said that they're just gonna keep writing in California bands for everything.
Good.
Emma Rosa. What the fuck even is that band? I don't know what that band is.
That is the band that Johnny Craig started after he got kicked out of Dance Gavin Dance.
So why wasn't it on the ballot, Ellie?
You tell me, Kyle, because I wrote this in. I've been gunning for this for months.
Oh, so this is a band that has like that fox on the cover of that record?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a piece of shit. Is why I didn't. It's why no one wanted it on the ballot.
Someone wrote in, "I'm voting for the North End, but using the space to tell you I really want you to do the North End," which is schwa.
So I'm sure we disappointed you. Moving on.
Someone wrote in, "Harmlessness by The World Is a Beautiful Place,"
which was 2015.
Someone wrote in Penfold Amateurs and Professionals,
which was a reissue. Penfold Amateurs and Professionals came out in 2000.
I'm searching this now. 1999.
1999. Okay. Yeah. No, sorry.
And then Midwest Pen Pals Inside Jokes.
Midwest Pen Pals Inside Jokes was 2008, I believe.
Let's see. 2009, and then a remaster in 2014 that probably just went to YouTube, right?
Yeah. Either way. Does not qualify.
Okay, so here, I did not know this. So Midwest Pen Pals, they had one release titled Inside Jokes. They were scheduled to do a vinyl split with Ape Up, Boys and Sex, and a full length in late 2009. Also, were going to release a cassette split with High Tide Hotel in early 2010.
Clearly, they just never wrote any of those songs.
I mean, that's just like fascinating, though. Like they had all this stuff like cooking.
Why does it say post merchant ships? That feels weird.
Yeah, it feels weird. I mean,
so I guess merchant ships. Like, okay, so these bands kind of existed simultaneously then.
I don't know.
All I know is that I definitely heard Inside Jokes first.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's the chronology of it all.
Okay. Well, with that said,
2010 could not be covered anymore. Could it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we did it. 2011 is gonna be some long fucking episodes. I'm like scared. Oh my god. Well, this has been the E Word episode 27, right?
Yeah, 27 bonus episode.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more of these, which I mean, we know you do. These would usually be with like a special guest, someone who could talk about what was going on in that year. But that kind of fell through, and we needed to do this, and I think it would be just like a really quick way to show you what these episodes are going to be like. And personally, I had a lot of fun on this. I don't know why this felt more fun and less stressful than... I mean, it's probably less stressful because I'm not corralling people.
Yeah, this was just like us shooting the shit about like a year in music that we really like.
Yeah. And it's probably only going to get more like passionate. Like, I remember crying my eyes out to Home Like No Place Is There when it came out. Shit.
Absolutely. And to end this episode off, I just want to dedicate it to our very, very good friend, Matt Pollock, who passed away about 2 weeks ago now of a heroin overdose. And, you know, I don't know how tight you two were, but Matt was one of my best friends in the entire world. And I miss them every single day of my life. And if there's anything I want to be taken from their passing, I want it to be that recovery is not a binary. Like, it's not that someone, was doing drugs and then they're in recovery and just stopped doing drugs. Relapses happen, and that's a fact of life. And they should not be stigmatized. And if you relapse, you deserve support and help when that happens, because it's natural. And I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have anyone that they can talk to about these things. So please reach out. You all have people who care about you. And I cared a lot about Matt. So
yeah, it's been surprising how much I've been reminded of Matt since they passed. Like, not because I scroll on to websites to talk about emo and there's a little message about them, but it's just like I don't know, they were going to make a full band version of the theme song and stuff like that, and like there's correspondence in our email about that, and I was emailing today and I was like, fuck,
yeah,
that's there. And like, they left a mark. They definitely left a mark on the scene.
They're gonna be remembered.
Yeah,
they always used to tell me that they wouldn't, but they're gonna be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and with that, I think this is the E word signing off on our 2010 bullshit.
Yep. 2011 bullshit coming soon.